to Forever Unbreakable, episode 21. Tonight I'm joined by two of the four-man team of the For Them Ruck. And I'm gonna let you guys do your own introduction on this one because it's wild, and this is year 3 of it. So talk about it. You guys did it last year. Bring everybody into what it is, who you are, where you're from, and all that jazz.
Hey, sure, cool. So thanks, Will, for having us, first of all. But
Yeah,
my name
absolutely.
is Avery Zuki. I go to St. Norbert College, and I'm 21 years old. I will be a senior in college this year. Both of us are also ROTC cadets with the Army. But essentially, the For Them Ruck is something that was started. Well, now it's the 5th one initially, but it was something that guys who are now second lieutenants in the Army also started just as something that they wanted to do for veterans, and it was initially something that was done for the Wounded Warrior Project. And it was always about 140 miles. That number was just not super significant. It just happened to be the distance between one guy's lake house and Wrigley Field. So they just decided they were going to ruck from that point to that point and try to raise money just for any veteran cause really that they could see fit. And Wounded Warrior was, the big name at the time, and that's kind of what they went with. And then what became cool about it is that it was something that's been passed down now. So we are, I think the 4th generation, if you want to put it that way, of the people that do this ruck. So, I think whatever you'd want to add to that, but that's kind of where it began, at least.
Yeah, so you basically hit it on the head, but my name's Jake Swenson. I'm also a senior at St. Norbert College, 21 years old, ROTC cadet. And yeah, Avery basically, he said it all. For them, has been something that it's been a privilege to do, especially last year and carrying into this year too. It's been something that's been passed down, and both of us are excited to do it this next couple of days coming up.
Yeah, the big thing is so last year you guys were just members of the team. You weren't really like the captains of the team, but you did the full 140 miles. This year you came back to now lead and mentor the next two people. Absolutely. So that it does keep getting passed down.
Correct.
So I remember 3 years ago when they came to me and they were like, hey, we're going to walk 140 miles, with packs on.
Yeah.
And do it in I think it was 6 days then as well. I know that's your guys' plan is to do it in 6 days. And I was like, it's possible. I did a quick run of the numbers. If it was 100, I basically rounded to 150 for easy math because I'm slow at math, and broke it down. I was like 25 miles a day, so it's like a marathon a day with a pack on. I was like, it's possible, but that is painful and difficult, not easy. And I was like, I fucking love the idea, but have you looked into the logistics? Because it's a logistical nightmare at times.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
And they were like, yeah, we generally got it all figured out. And I was like, what do you mean you have it all figured out? I planned a ruck march that is, was at the time 22 miles, now 20 miles. And I was like, it's a logistical nightmare. And I'm not even leaving the zip code.
Right.
And so talk about the logistical piece and how much goes into that. Because you guys come here for meetings, with getting the website up. And then you've got, calls out to fire departments and hotels and sponsors. And,
correct.
You're doing shirts now and generating money this way, that way. Talk about the logistical nightmare of trying to walk 140 miles and raise a bunch of money, to do so. I've got to guess, since its inception, over $50,000 have been donated because
absolutely.
I know the HOOAH were over 30,000 already. And after this year, just to HOOAH, it's probably going to break 50K.
Yeah.
So talk about those logistical nightmares, because I think it's harder than doing the walk sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
So I think the biggest thing too is that has helped us with this is delegation, and we all got our own separate tasks to handle. Starting last January when we first started putting this together. So we kind of just split them up. Okay, you take firehouses, you contact media, you contact this, that, and the other. And that's helped too, is, you know, splitting up the workload between us. Yeah. And then also just going, you know, thinking of what you need to start your day, to get your day going. And that's helped too, is, okay, we need this, or, okay, we're going to need water at this point. You know, can you have your buddy come and drop water off for us? So
yeah. And then it's trying to plan out those water drops. Like,
yeah.
Okay, we expect to be here at this time.
However, you know.
But if anything goes wrong,
Right.
that ain't going to happen.
Exactly.
Or let's say we're having an amazing day and all four of us are just like clicking and we're moving and the truck is just rolling. It's like, well, turns out you're not going to be here for an hour.
Right.
But we're going to be there and gone, you know, an hour before you're scheduled to get there with our water.
There's a fine line too between, like, if you do make that water point, like, but you're full on water, you know, there's that point where you don't want to be carrying too much, where you're
Exactly.
actually hurting yourself,
Right.
or you don't want to be overhydrating, you know, so.
And you don't want to break that cardinal rule of dumping out water, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know when you're going to need that. But at the same time, carrying literally a 24-pack of water, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, so I have a funny story for you guys real quick about dumping water, right?
Yeah.
So, best ranger competition. Trained for 4 months going into the best ranger competition. But you want to do whatever it takes to win, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We're all
Right.
type A personalities.
You got
You're not doing a 140-mile walk unless you're a type A personality. Yeah. And so we get to the long walk of the best ranger competition. It's unknown distance, unknown weight. So periodically throughout the thing, they're adding weight to your pack. And basically they try and get half of the field to quit because they only have the ability to put half the field through the next day's events.
Of course.
So they've either got to get you to quit or fall out. Well, we're like 8 miles in, and you notice consistency, right? That every mile or approximately a mile, you don't get a GPS watch, so you don't know
Right.
exact distances. But we're like, it seems like we're about every mile because we're hitting these things every like 12 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be
And
about
it's
right.
and
Yep.
it's a couple of water cans on the side of the road. So we're like, okay, we just need enough water to go a mile. But let's be safe and carry enough water to go 2 miles. That's like a canteen, maybe 2 canteens, right?
Right.
So you've got this Camelback on your back. That's a couple of liters plus 2 canteens. My partner and I are like, fuck the Camelback.
Yeah.
Like, let's get rid of all the weight. So we just frickin' start draining it down the side of the road, right? You
That's
just
gutsy.
open the hose and just draining it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is probably like mile 6, right?
Yeah.
Mile 8-ish, we guess, mile 8 or 9, all of a sudden, no more water can.
Oh, yeah.
No more water can. No more water can. We walked till I figure somewhere between 18 and 20.
Past that?
With no water.
Oh,
till like
shit.
mile 18 or 20-ish. We walked for like 2.5 hours with no water. And we would see cadre who would be like, here's a sandbag, carry sandbag.
Yeah.
Here's a box of Mark 19 rounds, which is like freaking tons of weight,
Yeah.
right? Same with the sandbag.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to carry this until we tell you to drop it. And you'd walk with that for like a half hour, and then you set it down and walk like another 15 minutes, pick something else up that's heavy.
And this is at Benning, too.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
we're not
super
talking
hilly.
Wisconsin here. We're talking, no.
super hilly. Like, it's at night, so it's not hot, but still stupid, right? And it's
Right.
April in Benning. And the cadre, it was the last weight carrying point before we actually got water again. And the cadre, I was like we were seeing the wizard, right? Like stars,
Yep.
blacking out. And the cadre were like, hey, we need water. Like, we need water. And he's like, if you want water, quit. I've got plenty in the back of my truck.
Classic.
And I was like, and my partner's like, we're not quitting. Don't quit. And I was like, Jose, I'm going to die if we don't get water. Like, this is no longer a quit, not quit. This is I'll walk till I die.
Yeah.
And if you ask me to walk till I die, I'm going to walk till I die.
Right.
And we ended up carrying these stupid 2 sandbags, just miserable weight on our backs on top of our rucks for like 2 miles. And then finally there was a water buffalo. And after that, we had like a mile until we finished. So basically, Jose and I were like, they must have just done without water until they got enough people to quit.
Right.
And like, we were this close to
Yeah.
quitting. And we were like in 6th place coming off of the long walk. So like, we did very well during the long walk.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Wow.
But yeah, that's my story about dumping water. You know, that cardinal rule, don't dump your water. You never know when you're going to need it. So, yeah, we were the guys who dumped water. But and having talked to everybody after, everybody was like, yeah, we saw the water cans, so we dumped our water. Like, everybody was doing it. Because you knew, okay, I can go 2 miles way faster, and it'll only take me 30 seconds to fill up with water there.
Worth it. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's worth it every time. Like, we don't have to drop our packs to fill up with water. There's multiple water cans there, so both of us can be filling up at the same time. Like, we can be full of water and moving again in seconds. And we paid the piper.
Oh my!
Like, I thought we were gonna die.
Yeah.
Legitimately, or at least I was. And Jose was gonna be like, fuck.
Now I gotta drag this guy. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a crazy experience. So my recommendation:
unbelievable.
Live by the cardinal rule.
Note taken.
Don't dump your water. So now I always carry extra water.
There you go.
Right.
Because I'm like, I've been in a bad spot before because I was an idiot.
Yep.
And that's a big part of the logistics is like, you want to mitigate the amount of weight that you're carrying as much as possible. But yet that there's certain items you have to carry. You have to have nutrition. You have to have hydration. And you can't go without those things.
Right.
So it's a crazy logistical battle as you look.
It's a dichotomy for sure.
Yeah, because you guys are going Lambeau Field down to, is it Red Arrow Park again?
Veterans Park.
Veterans Park.
Yeah, Veterans
yeah,
Park.
that's
right,
what it is.
right along the, yep, right there.
Which is down, for those of you that don't know, that's down in Milwaukee. And these guys start tomorrow. So tomorrow is what? Sunday the 19th?
Sunday the 19th.
Yeah. So Sunday the 19th. So this episode is going to come out basically 2 days after you guys finish. Because you guys will finish on Saturday.
25th.
And this episode will drop on the 27th.
27th.
So, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not going to say congrats yet. But, like, I know that you guys have it in you to do it because you guys have done it before. But talk about what's going through the heads of the two new guys as they look at 140 miles. Because you guys were there last year.
So you're sure this isn't going to be out before Monday, right? They're not going to see it?
Yeah, they're not going to see it. So you can say what you want.
Okay. Well, when they watch this and they made it, good job, guys. But
you made it.
They're both really, really solid guys. And so I guess I'll give a little bit of my own anecdotal evidence and to kind of guess what they're feeling. So, like, both of us, like, we enjoy rucking, even though it sounds a little like wild, but like, we don't really have much of an issue with it. And I remember a year ago, like, we were talking the night before, like 2 nights before, hey man, it's 20 miles plus a day, but like, we've done that. Like, are you really worried about it? No, dude. Like, not at all.
No,
yeah.
No, man, of course not.
Like, come on, dude. Like, it's walking. Like, I can walk all day. My mom can walk all day. Like, this is, whatever. Definitely by the second day, but first day we were like, okay, not what I was expecting for sure. So it was definitely a harder physical challenge than I had anticipated. So I at least hope that those two guys, because we have like kind of given them that insight, are like, one, like physically preparing, but like two, just knowing that there's going to be a day where you really, really are sucking. And that was our third day last year, I think, where it was our longest day. It was a hair under 30 miles. I think it was like 29.8, something like that. And it was the hottest day, and it's, to make it even worse, it's just one long, like, no turns, just straight down one long country road.
Dude, that is horrendous.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, we got on each other. I mean, we were just hot and dehydrated and pissed off, and like, yeah, that was a shitty day. But at the same time, you gotta just realize, like, okay, I'm not gonna die. Like, this isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm mildly uncomfortable, but we still gotta keep going. We are gonna make it to my grandparents' house where they have a ridiculous amount of food and
Lickies
cooking
and chewies,
and all our good stuff.
Yeah.
So just keep trucking. Like, stop complaining about it, because it's not gonna help you. Right. And I think we all kind of fell into that trap that third day.
Yeah, I think there's 2 words that you said in that. Mildly uncomfortable. Like, so many people look at the uncomfortability as like, this task is now become impossible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just taking one step and putting it in front of the other.
That's
or one
right.
foot in front of the other, just step after step after step. And yeah, it's fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, that pack, you get friction marks, and it causes blistering on your feet, and there is uncomfort. It's not comfortable, and you hit it on the absolute head with rucking. And like I used to hate rucking, like I used to absolutely hate it. But you go out and you work it, and then you begin to love it because of the sense of accomplishment after.
Exactly.
Absolutely, that's the
took the words
part.
out of my mouth.
But what you guys do during this 140 thing, that is crazy to me, because I know that when we all train with a pack on, we do some jogging and some walking and things like that. You guys pretty much walk.
We didn't jog hardly at all. The only time we did that was when we were like, okay, we need some blood flow to our knees. Like, let's just airborne shuffle it for like 30 seconds. You know?
And that to me is insane, because I would need to run chunks of it.
Yeah.
Just to break up the legs, and that's how I train. And I think that that's where you guys realized on day one, like, oh, this is different.
Right.
Because now you're hitting the same exact step. You're not wearing on your foot any differently by going from a run to an airborne shuffle to a walk. But your like step is exactly the same the next time you put your right foot down.
Exactly.
And the next time you put your right foot down, the next time.
And it's really not even the distance. I think you would agree. We were talking about it's the time. Right.
Yeah.
So if you told us, hey man, you got to do 20 miles today, like knock it out. All right, cool. We'll just push hard as we can, knock it out.
Yeah, because it's a 20-miler. Like,
Whatever, you
get it done.
And
You're,
it's,
you have the next day.
Yeah.
throw your ruck on. All right, see you in 20 miles. I'll be there in a few hours. But it's like the entire day, and that's the hard part too. Is it compounds throughout the week. So it's like first day, it's like 15. Okay, no problem. And then, but then you have another 5 more days of
Varying
20
distance.
plus.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so that's like, you hit it on the head, like you said, with the being uncomfortable, thing. That's the biggest thing for the 2 new guys, is just get comfortable with being uncomfortable through the time. So,
and just maybe like accept it.
exactly. I mean,
and get over it.
You're going for a walk.
Right.
That's what we're doing. We're going for a walk down beautiful Lake Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, you
See
guys
in
take a
6 days.
beautiful route.
It's
like,
awesome,
you
yeah.
really do
It is
take
cool.
a take
Sunrises
a beautiful route.
over the cornfields, like nice gold mist over the cornfields.
Some of the
hay
pictures
fields.
we got were incredible, like with the sun and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a photographer, but
But the iPhone does good.
the iPhone, the
Taking on
Snapchats for
iPhone.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some wild ones, but no, it really was a pretty cool scenic route. That's
sure.
for sure.
Dude, I don't want to forget during this, but like, where do people go to follow you guys and the progress? Like, what's
So-
the easiest way to do so? I mean, I know that, but you guys tell me.
Yeah,
like, the
so
easiest way to
last
do
year we didn't really do too much updating throughout the ruck, but something I'd like to do this year is on our Facebook page. We'll also get our Instagram page up and running somewhere. I think we lost the login, but we'll handle that, and we'll go. Each one of us, I'm thinking, we'll do some sort of like check up on the day, like, hey, how you doing? How you feeling today?
A small interview.
Yeah.
Exactly. A small little interview, like little AAR for the day, and
we plan on kind of posting that as like a kind of like a little like montage thing, just to be cool, just to like give people a little bit of a sense of what it's like really kind of like day to day, and that you can do like an interview from a news channel like the day before and you're all smiles and happy, but then when you see someone like laying on the side of the road, hey man, like how you doing right now, and you're like, dude, like stop, like just leave me alone, like,
Yeah.
stop. Then it kind of makes it a little more real.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's always fun because I get pictures sent direct to me a lot of times from you guys to get up on the HOOAH page and stuff. But basically, to follow them, it's just For Them on Facebook.
yes. So
And-
For Them 2018, it'll come up.
Okay, it's
and
under
we
the
have
2018, perfect.
You'll see the picture of us from last year.
Yeah.
Right.
So jump on Facebook, give them a like and a follow, For Them 2018, and that's where you'll be able to get all the updates. And those updates will start coming out tomorrow already.
That's right.
With that movement. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Excited.
it's crazy. Like, it still blows my mind away because I know the pain that is endured through a long ruck, and it is a ton of of being uncomfortable. And that's what the 2 new guys are going to have to learn,
Yep.
that you guys learned last year. But now, like this year, with your experience, you're still going to feel the pain, and you guys both know that and are aware of that. But now you have to be the ones who stay strong and don't show that.
Exactly.
To help motivate the new guys, because really, like, that's what it comes down to, is you're motivating each other, but you're only traveling as fast as the slowest person.
Exactly.
So if somebody gets blistered out or any of that, so like during the train up, how did you guys hold each other accountable to make sure that, you know, everybody was putting in the miles required to, you know, harden their feet and their bodies and their minds?
You know, so
the undertaking.
That was a little bit, I'd say a little bit easy for us, just because those of us that did it last year were all part of the same ROTC program. So we just had already scheduled rucks, and we were
nice.
And it was very easy to say, hey, why don't us three or us four just like stick together and try getting our pace down?
Yeah.
You know, and then throughout the summer, we all kind of went our separate ways, did separate training, but we all had rucksacks on our pack, you know, throughout the summer before we made it there. So by the time like that day came, we like had those like hardened feet, at least. You know, we were used to like wearing boots, used to wearing a pack, and it was pretty seamless. However, I don't think you can really prepare for a 140-mile ruck unless you're doing like some days with like 50 miles or something like that. But that just wasn't, I mean, like I didn't do that. I don't know. I mean, I did a couple of shorter ones, but I didn't go anything above 12.
Yeah. You know, even for the world record ruck, people ask me all the time, like, man, you must have been doing 20 plus milers.
Yeah.
And I was like, never.
Nope.
Like, I never went past 16 miles. You just, you're setting yourself up for injury.
Absolutely.
No one runs a marathon to train for a marathon. You know, I've heard that said before too. So we're not going to go ruck 140 miles
or 110. So I
to train.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. You do the big thing, and this is what I tell people, is you do training that you can recover from quickly. Mm-hmm. Because it's all about what you can do the next day in training. So like for you guys, you know, there's like, you'll do a ruck march, but then you probably go and do a run the next day or some strength and conditioning type workout, because you need the cross balance and cross training, and you don't want to set yourself up for injury.
Right.
So what's an average week for you guys look like, you know, fitness wise? Because you can look at you guys and see that you're not just ruckers, or you wouldn't have an upper body. You would be, you know, all legs and little skinny arms like what I have, because I'm in full triathlon mode right now. So swim, bike, run doesn't give me much time for anything else. But what does a week look like for you guys in the train up process, you know?
So I think it changes a bit while we're in the school year with our program, and then when we're doing stuff on our own. So I guess I'll just touch on at least the specific like school cadet training. So we do like as a company just PT 3 times a week in the morning, at least, sometimes more, sometimes at least 3 times a week. And it's pretty basic. I mean, just kind of like you'll do like a run or two, and then do like, you know, more of your Metcon type style workouts. But as you would agree, and as probably anyone else knows, like Army PT is not going to get you in good shape. Right. So on top of that, I think what we try to always do is incorporate the functional fitness and like the strength building, because I guess the way I look at it, that you can be the best runner in the world, or you can, you know, have the biggest biceps, but if you don't have that actual like foundation and strength to be able to like have a wide enough upper body to carry a ruck like that, or have like strong enough legs to walk like that when you're not running, you're going to really suffer and do that. So I mean, in terms of like our own personal training, I know we both train like at least 6 times a week, like in the gym doing stuff. And I know that can vary from just your standard like hypertrophy workouts, powerlifting workouts, to more of like the functional, like CrossFit-y type stuff. I don't know. I mean, we kind of do our own thing.
Yeah.
But
So it, like he said, it varies. You know, as soon as we leave school, all of us go our separate ways, because, you know, he's from Rockford, Illinois. I'm from south of Chicago, and we got 2 guys from Milwaukee. So we don't. I haven't seen him since we ended school. So everyone kind of goes parts their separate ways. So it's kind of on the own individual to train up. So when I haven't been at Army, you know, training throughout the summer, I like to do, like he said, functional fitness too, not just going in front of the mirror and curling.
Which is fun.
I still do
Which
that.
is fun.
I still do that a lot.
for sure, but
A lot.
Make sure you get that selfie.
Too much.
exactly, like that's not gonna, that's not gonna really help too much with, going to walk in that long distance. But a lot of it too, maybe your fitness will get you. Maybe that helps us. But I think the biggest thing too is the mental side of it, because you need to train your mental side of it too, like mentally prepare yourself, and you need to just keep why you're doing this ruck at the front of your mind before, like, while your body's starting to give out. And I think that replaces, maybe like one rep of, this, that, or that, one more set of squat.
And I
that's
think
not
we
gonna
can
help
kind of still and do that like through fitness stuff.
For
so
sure.
You can do like your standard workout. Say you're doing like a leg workout, whatever, and you do your squats, your lunges, blah blah blah, your leg press. But then at the end, I think it's always beneficial to put like a gut check thing in there. So okay, my legs are fried. How long can I hold like a wall sit?
Yeah.
And like, am I really building like muscular strength? Probably not, but I think it's really beneficial to get your mind right to be able to push through, again, that discomfort and realize I might be shaking, I might be hurting, but I can probably hold on to this a lot longer than I feel I can.
Yeah, because you can be the biggest dude in the world, best squat, best power clean, best, you name it.
Bicep curl.
Yeah.
Best bicep curl,
You can
CT
be,
Fletcher. But, it comes to a point where you need to man up and you need to really keep your mental fortitude going, and you just need to keep putting left over right. It gets to a point where physicality is not going to do too much for you.
Yeah, where it all becomes mental. And the mental game is more important than your physical abilities, because your brain will determine whether you quit or whether you continue.
Absolutely.
And your brain will tell however the nervous system works, where the brain fires and sends the signal that makes your leg pick up off the ground, move forward, and set back down. Like, as long as your brain is doing that, you're going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
Like, you're just going to keep walking. And, and I've been there a few times in life, much like that Best Ranger story that I told you guys before. But the episode before this, episode 20, we get deep into, self-reflection, and like mental power, mental ability. And I explain this to people all the time that are, at the point of like trying to build this mental resilience or harden your brain, if you will.
Yeah. And
I tell them, I'm like, I believe, so they say like you use 10% of your brain or 20% or whatever they say you use of your brain. And I was like, honestly, for many, many years, probably until I was like somewhere between 28 and 30, and I'd guess closer to 30, that I didn't use my brain at all.
Yeah.
Like, I used it to do math or read or whatever, but I was never fully in control of my mind. And now I believe that I'm somewhere around like the 30% in control of my mind, right? So like,
totally.
Where I can tell myself when I'm uncomfortable or in pain, I can just tell myself. So like I always tell people, like, it's never a cramp. It's just a little bit of discomfort or a little bit of pain. And you can just block that out and keep moving. Like, a cramp never stops somebody from taking another step. It'll stop you from running and make you walk because you're mentally weak.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But a cramp, you can run through a cramp.
And if someone offered you $1 million, would you be able to do it? That's the way I look at it.
Exactly. And so talk about a little bit more about like the significance of the mental aspect to you guys, and like, have you started doing, I know that you just said like that last gut check push,
right?
But have you started to look at like, how much of my brain do I really control, and am I able to focus it on what I want to accomplish and not allow it to slow me down? Like, have you guys started looking into that at all a little bit?
Yeah, so I had, I've never thought of like the percentage of my brain, but it does make sense. But going back to last year, I thought this, like, the interesting shift that would it be like day 3 or day 4? You know, my feet were raw.
Yeah, I believe
were
it.
blistered up, and so were a couple other of the guys. And it got to a point where we found like enjoyment in popping the blisters, and like it was absolute lunacy. But
yeah.
So after a while, you'd get walking, like, yeah, your blisters would hurt. But then I found myself, like, started telling myself that blisters are feeling good. Like, that spot on my foot, like, feels good.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but I think it was, you know, something, you know, with my brain telling me, hey, you just got to keep pushing, got to keep working. And it got to the point where I was like, wow, like, I don't even know if these are blisters. Like, I don't know what this feeling is, but yeah, so I mean, it's that mental push, that mental, you know, block you have to put up to not quit it's vital for something
Which
like this, you know?
So the way that you just described it, right, is the way that it happened to me for many, many years, right? And I call that like this stumbled into it, right? I stumbled into a little bit of mental control,
right,
without even realizing it. And then as soon as the event was over, you have that threshold, right, where you're able to push to that same point that you put yourself in last time, because you've built that in your brain, but you've never actually focused on the brain getting there. So like now, like, so today I went and biked 80-ish miles this morning. I think it was like 78 miles or something like that, right?
no big deal. Yeah.
And the whole way back, I had like 27 miles back into a straight headwind.
Nice.
Just getting crushed.
Nice.
And there was a few times where I caught myself going slower than I should be, you know, producing less power and energy than I should be. And I realized immediately, I was like, you're not using your brain. You're just on the bike, going through the motions, and it feels good, and you're riding at a pace that feels good. But you stopped using your brain and controlling the situation. And at that moment, that now that I've, you know, spent like 4 years focused on fixing it, I'm like, okay, stop doing this. Like, just stop, fix yourself. Now put out the effort and energy that your body is capable of doing. And then I've got to tell myself, like, right foot push down, left foot lift, left foot push down, right foot lift, to get the pedals and use the full pedal and start generating. And next thing I know, I've moved the bike from, you know, 14 miles an hour into the headwind up to 18 miles an hour. And it's not that, you know, my legs are getting any more tired. It's just that I allowed myself to get comfortable, which is much of what happens during a long ruck march, right? Your head goes down and you're just watching your feet take one more step on the pavement, and you're not really paying attention to what's going on. And then all of a sudden you'll get like that blister sensation, and you'll be like, okay, this is like, yeah, I feel it, but it feels good because I'm so used to and tolerant of the pain. So like, you stumble into it, but now you guys, like, you're super close to taking complete control of that situation and being like, no, I'm in charge.
Right.
Picking your head back up and moving out. So like, what I encourage you guys on this walk is to go from the mental, like, stumbled into point to like when you're not thinking about stuff and your head is just down, you know, as the days progress and it's hot as shit out, to like realize that, hey, I'm not thinking right now, I'm not focused. Focus on it and watch yourself, like, take bigger steps, faster steps, and move along on the road faster, just because you become mentally aware.
Totally.
And like, you know, impose that on your brain to like, I'm going to do this because I can do this. Definitely. And I think it's unique when I talk to people about it, and they tell me these discoveries of their mental, like, pushing their threshold, and I'm like, you're just stumbling into it. Wait until you focus on it, and then you'll be like, holy shit, this is stupid. Like, because the brain is so powerful, which is why you guys are able to complete the 140 miles is 100% the mental game.
Right. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And you talked about how, you know, you see that a lot of people are like, hey, how'd you do that? Oh, I just blocked it out. I just turned my head off.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I've never really done that where I just go numb. I'd, like you said, try to redirect those thoughts. So you start getting like the pain, the uncomfort, the owie. I find it personally more beneficial to then, instead of just shutting down, focusing and harnessing that like energy and turn it into something positive, as opposed to something that's going to slow you down. So you're starting to like really suck. You're starting to hurt. If it's something like a ruck march, I try to imagine, what if people were watching me, number one, that I cared about, and then number two, what if people were watching me that there were those people that want to see you fail? How would you act if they were actually like in the bleachers watching you then? Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of, okay, you know what, like, hey, my girlfriend's watching me, my, you know, family members, my friends, you like, you know, my friends back home, I want them to be like, damn, like that dude kicks ass, like good on him. Yeah. And then you think about when it really gets tough, those people that want to see you fail, you would just be like, hey dude, like honestly, like fuck you. I'm just going to like truck past you and I'm going to piss you off by not being in any pain right now.
That's my greatest motivation for the world record was that tell me I can't.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I love that.
I was like, I had it on the back of my shirt. I was like, go ahead, tell me I can't do something.
Yep.
And I'm going to show you that I can.
I'm going to smoke this world record.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And that's what it is. Like, and there's numerous people, when I tell people about what you guys are doing, and there'll be critics after the podcast, because there are always critics.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
But it's like, go ahead, tell me. Because all it's doing is fueling the fire for me to be more successful at everything that I do. And I don't care. Like, I don't need you. But like, man, I love it when people say, you can't do that.
Right.
That's impossible.
Right.
Nothing is impossible.
No.
Some things just haven't been done yet. Right. But nothing is impossible. So like, Nike with the 2-hour marathon. Yeah, they came up short. But running a sub 2-hour marathon is not impossible.
No.
It just hasn't been done yet.
Right.
And that, I think, is what people don't realize is the difference, is that at some point in life, somebody's going to run a sub 2-hour marathon.
Just like they ran a sub 4-minute mile, right?
Yeah.
That was like the pinnacle. And now it's high school kids are doing that.
Yeah, people do it all the time now.
Yeah.
I've seen like, I think there's 5Ks now that are done with sub 4-minute miles.
That's unbelievable.
Or like right around the 4-minute mile marker. So it's like,
wow.
If you don't believe it, it's coming.
Yeah.
Like, people are only getting faster, stronger, jumping higher, doing more crazy feats. There's a guy right now, and I love his story as well, because it reminds me so much of watching you guys and watching the For Them Ruck grow over the last couple of years. There's a guy running cross-continental right now. So he's running from New York to San Francisco. So he started with his feet in the water in New York and ending with his feet in the water in San Francisco. And he ran through the winter months up here, and he actually ran through the Midwest, like, so anywhere where they grow corn, basically.
Yeah.
From when it was frozen to almost being pickable corn. So he talks about seeing the evolution of corn, like that's watching corn be grown from planting it to fertilizing it because of running every day. He would run 34 to 36 miles a day.
That's unbelievable.
And, he doesn't have a pack on, but I mean, like, he's doing...
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's doing 3,000 miles.
Yes. Yeah.
That's... But, like, it just shows you anything is possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, to run cross-continental. So he's down to, like, I think, like, 26 or 27 days. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head. Yeah. And he's doing it and trying to raise $1 million. Yeah. So, like, it's freaking crazy, the things that the human body can do and the number of times that an individual, will want to quit.
Yeah.
So, like... It's crazy because during this event, during the 140 miles, I know quitting crosses every person's mind.
Yep.
It has to. Mm-hmm. There's no way that it doesn't. In my eyes, you're bullshitting me if you say that quitting doesn't cross your mind.
Yeah.
But it's what you do in the moment that you think about that. And again, that's a part of the mental control list. How long do you let that sit in your mind? And what does it do to you while it's there? Before you're able to block it out, So talk about those like super low moments. Like, obviously you had them on day 3.
Yes.
So talk about what those exact moments feel like.
Yeah. So he said something on the Ruck last year that it was just 3 words that I've never heard before, and it was "kill to quit." And I thought that was such a badass motto to live by the rest of the Ruck. and even through life too. Like I've carried that with me since then, and I think it's such a powerful 3 words. You know, you got to get that quitting mentality out of your mind, because as soon as you start feeling uncomfortable, if you're gonna tap, as soon as you start feeling that, like, you're not gonna amount to anything in life.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're just gonna feel that slight uncomfortability of, oh, my back hurts, or oh, I got a cramp in my calf, or blisters, whatever, you know, you're never gonna amount to this great feat that we're going to accomplish this next week. So
yeah, you went to trained, right? Because there's no way during training that you don't have back pain.
Exactly.
And that you don't get a blister, or you don't, you know, have toenail damage and potentially lose a toenail, or whatever, muscle fatigue, like. And if you're already quitting in training, if you're not getting up early and going and getting it in, or staying up late to get it in because that's what's required to be successful, because you came up with some excuse, you're never going to get there.
Right.
You know, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, excuses are so easy to come by. And so many people are like, oh, I'll start my workouts tomorrow. Well, then tomorrow comes and they say the same thing.
Yep.
Which is why we created a hooded sweatshirt that says rest tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if you tell yourself, hey, I'll just take a rest day tomorrow, well, then tomorrow becomes today, and you're still telling yourself, I'll rest tomorrow. You know, it's that same thing. Like, as soon as you start quitting, it becomes so easy.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like, so easy.
Absolutely.
And you said the rest tomorrow thing too. One of my favorite, I'd say, people to look up to is Jocko Willink. He's
that dude's amazing.
Bad dude.
That's a real dude.
I listen to him every day, and
dude.
one of his favorite pieces I listen to is, okay, maybe you do need to rest, but don't take today off.
Yeah.
You know, do it tomorrow. Okay, if you wake up tomorrow and you need to rest, all right, do what you can. But then that next day, you're going to be getting after it again.
No, exactly.
It's
If you
huge.
guys haven't heard of Jocko Willink, like, check out his podcast. It is
one of the top podcasts on iTunes.
Yeah, it's awesome. He dives into books.
Yep.
Like
great.
historic, typically military war books, and really like is able to put his spin on the picture. But and I heard him say that exact quote.
Yeah.
I think a couple of times now.
Yeah.
Is that like, if you've got to rest, just do it in the future.
Exactly.
Like, get through today. Do something today. You know, and he's not telling you to go out and smash a massive workout. But all you got to do is go and run a mile. I tell people all the time, I'm like, just go run a mile. And if you can't do that, run 1/10 of a mile.
Right.
Get started.
1% better than each day.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
And you got to get started. It's just like when you guys told that line tomorrow, looking at 100, and really, like, what's the honest distance? Is it like 146 miles or something?
Last year was 144.
It's
Okay.
tailorable, so the last day is, we can take one route that's like 140 exactly, or it'd be like 146.
Something like that.
So we can kind of toy with it to see,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it's about 147, 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know it's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So like, when you toe the line to start, like, there's a whole bunch of shit that goes through your mind.
I remember that moment last
Like,
week.
talk about that moment. The moment right before you put the first foot across the line, knowing like there's no more backing out now without having to be like, I failed. Right?
Exactly.
Like, talk about that moment, because that moment is high pressure, I think.
Oh, yeah. So when we left last year, we had just got done meeting up with Dean Lowry, the defensive tackle for the Packers, who his parents and my parents happen to be like good friends, went to the same high school as me. So he knew about it, and he was super excited, and like, he took a picture with us, supported us. And then we get to Lambeau, and we have like tons of family there, tons of news there. You were there, and you're like, oh, this is so cool. And then, like, we got done doing the interviews and, like, you know, taking pictures of everyone. Like, we had our friends there. And then we all kind of looked at each other and we were like, looked at our watch and, okay, you know, and just put the ruck on. And I remember for some reason clipping my waist belt. And because that was, like, the last thing I always do. And I was like, man, like, now we actually, just like you said, now we actually have to do it. We've been talking about it for so long, but now we literally have to walk for a week.
Walk the walk.
Yeah, because you guys were probably talking about it before the team the year before you did it.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing like, we want to fill their shoes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how stupid what you signed up for is.
Yeah.
Dude, because the guys who started the Ruck, like in its inception, like we look up to those dudes still. Like those are some bad guys. Like they're great role models. Fantastic. And ever since they did it, like, damn, I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to be that guy.
I mean, now they're like,
for other people.
Like they're just showing the way.
Exactly. You know? They paving the way for us.
And you guys are doing the same thing. You're showing the way for the next group of guys or girls that are going to, step up and do it.
Right.
And that's huge. Like I'm a huge believer of like, be the guy who is paving the way, and live that, or the girl, but get out there and do something that is extreme, or seen as extreme. And I promise when you get done and get to the finish line, it won't seem like it was all that extreme.
No.
Like
that's so true that you said that. I remember getting done and I was like, oh, it wasn't really that bad. But like asked me that 24 hours before and I was like, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. But that's totally true.
So right now you're 24 hours out, not even. 'Cause what time are you kicking off at tomorrow?
11? Yeah, less than that. About 20.
So 22 hours.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
So talk about like what's going on in your heads now that you're 22 hours out from something you've done before, but that it's going to challenge you again.
So it may seem cliche to say this, but I'm actually excited to get back into like the middle of the suck. Like I'm excited to like get back in and just endure it. 'Cause last year, it sucked, but I had a lot of fun, like just walking with, 3 other dudes. Like, it was a great time. Like most people might not say that, but
it really was though.
It was,
especially looking back.
Exactly. You're just going for a walk each day. Happen to have a couple pounds on your back. But I'm looking forward to the accomplishment of crossing that line in Milwaukee. Just every day look forward to the end of the day. Get to the next meal. I know that's something you said before too. Just get to the next meal or get to that next tree over there. So to answer your question, I'm excited to get back into it and just feel that sense of accomplishment, and also to help the other guys. Like the younger two is Shaneberger and Whitty, and it'll be a big thing for them to step up to do. I'm excited to see them do it too because I know they both can do it and finish it. So excitement.
Definitely.
Let's fucking go.
I would I would echo like pretty much everything you said about the excitement. I will say I am a little bit more butterfly filled, a little bit more anxious maybe is the good word than last year. Number one, because I know like this actually is hard, where last year I was like, oh, it's nothing.
The ego now. Like last year you were humbled by the course, but you went in with an ego. This year, ego's out the window.
Right.
You're going in a very humbled, matured, ruck marcher now, I guess we would say.
Yeah, no, totally. So I know that's gonna be tough. And then I don't know if you noticed, like walked in, busted my ankle pretty good at my last jump at Benning. So
damn. Yeah, because you just got home today from airborne school.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Yeah. So that'll be a little bit more challenging, definitely. But, it's not anything crazy bad. But so I know, okay, so I'm going to have to deal with that. And then this actually is pretty tough. However, like what you mentioned, I think a good thing to focus on, that I'm going to at least try to focus on, is I find it easier to make it through really shitty things when I'm able to help others who are also going through that, right? So when you're doing, like say like a company ruck march and someone's really, really sucking that's carrying the 240, and even if you are, I always try to like take that opportunity to, hey man, like switch with me, take my M4, I'll carry your 240. And even though for the first like 15 feet, you're like, wow, that was a dumb decision.
Yeah, like my mouth.
Right. Yeah. Just knowing that, okay, you're helping them out and putting all of your focus onto getting them through it makes your steps easy. and then if you kind of will actually say, hey man, like push a little harder, just got to get up that hill, got to get to this point, you're also doing that at the same time. And you're, like you said, engaging your brain and not just focusing on the hurt, you're focusing on something positive. So that's something I'm holding on to. I'm going to try to use that.
Yeah. One of like my favorite moments in anything, right, is the moment when you look over and the guy next to you is suffering.
There's always someone sucking more.
Way
awesome.
more than you are.
Yeah.
And like, I think that goes into that helping others is like, you also get that like, oh, they're hurting real bad and I'm not like nearly as bad as they are. So part of that helping them is you get that initial surge of motivation of like, yeah, like my training is paying off right now.
Definitely.
And all that hard work is making this easier. And I that's awesome. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's super significant.
And I think it goes both ways too, where if you're really sucking and you look over and there's someone that isn't, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm definitely tougher than, Joe Schmo over there.
Yeah.
Why are they not in pain?
Yeah.
Okay, well, time to turn it off and suck it up because I'm not going to let that guy show me up.
Yeah, time to figure it out.
Yeah, because apparently he knows something I don't. So,
Yep. Exactly.
it really isn't that bad.
So the next thing I want to ask you guys now, we'll get into the famous questions.
Okay.
So question 1, what is or how would you guys say that you are unbreakable or have found an ability to not quit or not break?
You want to start first?
Yes, sure. So my senior year of this is when I kind of really like embodied that mentality before I'd ever heard you talk about it or anyone else. My senior year of high school, right before I was a basketball player, right before the season, I had a pretty major foot surgery, and it was going to be really, really close whether or not I was going to make it to the season to be able to play, and I really wanted a scholarship, yada, yada. So I pushed the physical therapy a little bit harder than maybe I should have, but it just kind of got worse and worse and was not healing in the way that I wanted it to. And while I was going through that, I had a head coach who was like one of those haters we talked about, who for some reason wanted like his own player to fail. You know what I mean? He just did not like something maybe against me or the other guys, but just did not want to see me make it to the season. And I knew that. And I was able to, even though when I would run, I mean, like I could literally feel like the screw in my heel and feel like the pins and everything, and it would hurt so bad. But when we would do our conditioning, like running around the track, I would just have a happy face on, do my runs, and even though it was bad, like an 8 out of 10 pain, wouldn't show it. But then when I would get to my car, I would like lock the doors and just be like, fuck, like because it was hurting so bad. But that super, super long recovery where I would be limping in class, like walking class to class, but then have to do like conditioning and then the practice kind of taught me that, okay, like just what we've been talking about the whole time. I'm in a ton of pain. I have people that are hoping I'm going to fail, but even though there's all these things against me, there's no way I'm going to let that stop me. And one of the bigger quotes so at the time I was reading Lone Survivor, Marcus Luttrell's book.
Nice, great book.
Oh, fantastic
Great
book.
book.
I think everyone should read it. I really do.
Absolutely.
But the quote he has that if I end up getting a tattoo, it's definitely been my first tattoo, was that no matter how dark it gets, you're never out of the fight. And that's something that I think you can apply to like a physical pain, but especially like an emotional pain. And no matter what, it's not over till it's over. No matter how dark it is, you're never out of the fight. And whenever it would get really, really bad, that's what I would just tell myself. Sometimes I have to say it out loud, or I have to write it in a notebook to remind myself that it's dark, it's pretty shitty right now, but you're not out of the fight. It's not over yet. And if there's a will, there's a way, and you can overcome this if you choose to do so. So that was my birth into the embracing the suck. And then after that, I kind of became in love with it, I think.
Dude, that's a huge birth. I want to touch on something that you just glossed over.
Yeah.
Right? Ankle. Like, you got what in your ankle now? Like screws, pins?
Yep. So it's To make it a long story short, it's called accessory navicular syndrome, where there's an extra bone that grows on the outside of my foot. Hardly any people have it. And it caused a lot of pressure on one of the tendons there that helps your like left and right movement of your ankle. In order to alleviate that, because it's very painful to have, they had to surgically remove that bone, take that tendon and pull it down, pin it, and then also to correct the pronation of my foot just from walking on this my whole life, they had to saw my heel in half, shift it, and then put a screw through it in order to align it properly.
And the screw and pin are still in there?
Yep, still have them in there.
So you walked 140 miles last year with a screw and pin in your ankle.
Yes.
And people say they can't take a lap around the block or run a mile?
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Fucking 140 miles with a screw and pin in the ankle in 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
There are no excuses. I'm not even going to ask you what's your excuse. Just straight, you don't have an excuse. And if you think you do, you're wrong. Get it in your head that you can go out and achieve something and go out and do it. Just like you did. You got in your head that you could go out and achieve 140 miles. That you could go out and make the basketball team. And you just glossed over it like, oh yeah, minor ankle surgery, screw pin, yada, yada. And then I was back to playing basketball. Like, that's legit. And that right there, yes, it's where your journey to being unbreakable started and can resonate to a lot of people. Because a lot of people say, oh, I've had this major surgery and there's no way that I can go out and do this.
Yeah, this is what doctors told me.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what type of surgery you had. If you are now able to walk, and you see this all the time with amputees and stuff, where they get out and they go and freaking win Olympic gold medals in the Paralympics and stuff. Like, they're out getting after it every day.
Right.
And I think that is huge, and that people need to know that. Hence the emphasis and the pointing at the screen.
You
go out and do something, because that's how you get on the road to being unbreakable. Like, you had the surgery and you had two choices. One, I can lay in this bed, I can recover, I can do the slow process. Or number two, I can go out and freaking crush life and not let anything stop me and forget that I ever even had an ankle surgery. And yeah, it's going to hurt from time to time, but fuck it. I'm better than that. I'll deal with the pain when the exercise is complete.
Right.
And that's freaking awesome. Oh, pumps me up.
Yeah.
Like, I just got super fired up.
Oh, yeah.
I was just yelling at everybody. Sorry, people, but like, for real, get out and push yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Challenge yourself.
That's an example. All right, Jake, you're up, man. You're in the hot seat.
All
Follow
right,
that one up.
So it's hard to follow that one up, but similar to Avery too. I played football in high school, and my senior year, I tore my meniscus like the Thursday before our first game. So that kind of sucked, and I was like, all right, well, I can play with it for a little bit until I get surgery. It ended up being they just scoped it out, no problem, and I played with a brace for the next couple games, but I just it wasn't the same. But that's not really what I want to focus on. Is one of my good friends in high school, he kind of like stopped during the football season. He's stud on the team, like one of my best friends. And I was asking him, like, hey man, like, what's up? Like, we haven't been hanging out. I haven't been seeing you too much lately. Like, what's been going on? And he said something along the lines of the negativity that was coming out of me and my other buddy that was also hurt. And he said that, and this was my first time hearing like this introduction of
Being negative.
Being negative. I was gonna say something, but I wasn't gonna say it. But basically, hey man, like, you're being a victim of your situation. Like, I don't need to be around that. Suck it up, basically.
Yeah,
and that was a really
victim.
wake up call. I don't think he meant it to be like that. It was kind of just like, oh, dude, you're being a bitch. I don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, well, shit, I'm not gonna turn into that guy. It was something very minor, like.
Dude, but it's got a huge effect. Like,
it
what
did.
What people say to you can have a tremendous effect on what
absolutely.
you do next.
And he's like, he said that just like, dude, just man up. Like, dude, it's just your knee, whatever. So that from that point on, I went on to that and I ran with that. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna be that guy anymore. Like that's gonna, oh, I had a knee surgery, whatever. So finished the season out. We ended up winning state, but that's another story. So then I went on to play college football at St. Norbert actually. And my knee was great. Like I nursed it back to health and everything, PT'd it back.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's good enough to do 140 miles 2 years in a row.
So it's not like it's not a problem. I mean, it's I get tendonitis in my knees, whatever. Who doesn't? But to answer your question, still, it's how do I define unbreakable? Is your situation can always be worse, no matter what state you're in, no matter what physical state, mental state. It can always be worse. And I think it's a huge testament to your mental fortitude, your core as a person to wake up every day with the right attitude, to just get after work. Just get after it every day. Get 1% better each day. And that's something I've embraced since I was told that back in high school. I didn't really think too much of it then, but looking back, it's such an important part of my day to wake up every day. All right, I'm going to kick today's ass. Like, let's get after it today. And, I haven't had too much, thank God, like in my life that's tested me, like, a major event, like combat or accident, bad accident or anything. Like, thank God I haven't had anything like that yet. But I think living each day as it's your last day, or living each day that it's going to be, you're not going to have it tomorrow. That's how I define unbreakable. Is not, what are you going to do today if it's going to be your last day?
Yeah, dude, and you're constantly testing yourself.
Exactly. So and you got to constantly be pushing that threshold. All right, I'm going to do one more rep tomorrow. One more set tomorrow. And I actually heard a quote this summer that I basically embodies what I've been thinking is train today like it's your last day of peace. And I heard that and I was like,
it's a great quote.
Train today like your last day of peace. Like
we should make a t-shirt out of that.
I like that idea. I like t-shirts.
I do.
So like with that quote, I mean that was like, damn, like that's a bad quote. So that's been my mentality of being unbroken is just keep that mental toughness at the front of your mind. And you can't, once I start something, I cannot come to terms with myself if I quit because, that's just who I am. I don't want to, something that motivates me too is, this is a couple questions ago, but like, I never want to call my mom at night, be like, Mom, I quit, or I failed at this, that, or the other. Like my mom's my motivator in life. And so I don't think I could ever like turn to my family and say I'm broken. Like I failed this task that I started.
Because I quit.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, I go in every day ready to work. All right, I'm not going to quit today.
Dude, I think like
rest tomorrow.
Like the biggest thing from that for all of you listeners to take, or the thing that I took the most is that testing yourself daily. Like every day you're putting yourself into a situation where you have to test yourself. Mm-hmm. Can I do the one extra rep? All right, I did it, or I didn't do it. But like you put yourself in that test. And that's what's making you so mentally strong, is every day you're testing yourself. Like you've reached your limit. Yeah. And it's like, all right, now it's time to test who I am as a person. And I think that if you combine that test with self-reflection at the end of the day, like, all right, I tested myself here. Maybe I need to make these adjustments because it turns out I'm, stronger physically or stronger mentally than I thought I was. So now, combine that with self-reflection, and you're fucking like a freight train to crushing shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's that the biggest takeaway that I got from that is test yourself. Like don't be afraid to test yourself. And it's one thing to test yourself and fail, But if you don't test yourself, you essentially quit.
You already failed.
You quit at the end of the exercise.
Yeah.
You completed the exercise, great.
Right.
But you never got to the point of testing yourself. So really, you could be looked at like a quitter almost.
Absolutely.
Because you're stopping at the end instead of truly testing yourself. And I that's huge. I like it, man. All right, and the last question for you guys. What's next? So, because this isn't airing until after the 140 miles. So you can't use that. So, and I know that I guarantee people are already asking you, because before I went out and broke the world record, before I did Ironman with a ruck on.
By the way, that was awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, man. It's still, I still don't even I realize it. There it is. I told you it was going to happen.
And a quick commercial break.
You jinxed it.
I totally jinxed it. Anyways, so what is, as I hold the microphone, all right, so what is next? Like, what do you guys have after the 140 miler? Because I know people are already asking the question, because they asked me before I ever even started. Yeah. So what's next?
Yeah, so we're both going in our last year at St. Norbert, as we previously mentioned. So we will be commissioning in May into United States Army. We don't get our branches in the Army until this coming November, like right before Thanksgiving. However, I'll speak for myself, Zuki too, both of us like to branch infantry. Me personally, my next goal in life, obviously commission, but my next goal in life is to get Ranger Tab. And that's been something something I've wanted to work for. Something I've worked for many years now in my life. And that's kind of the sights I'm setting on, to get after. So once I get that tab and, do a couple years in the Army, see where that takes me.
Yeah, that's a hell of a goal, and it's going to teach you. Having been to the course and graduated myself, it's going to teach you more than you could have ever imagined about who you are as an individual, how strong you are, both mentally and physically, and what you're willing to do for, essentially a $3 piece of fabric.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's more than that. Right. And you're going to learn tons about leadership, and you will come out a tremendous person. And I think that is an absolutely remarkable what's next. I would never go back. You couldn't pay me to go back to that hell. But it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So,
all right, Avery, you're up, man.
All right. So for myself, that's definitely a goal of mine as well. Like Ranger School being like kind of like the pinnacle of what our next couple of years, have hopefully, and sights for us. However, I think for me, it's nothing physical, but the opportunity that I see in front of myself more is starting to pay it forward. So like we mentioned, those guys that started that ruck, not only did they start the ruck and started something pretty awesome, but the mentoring and the leadership that I don't want to use the word imposed on us, but they showed us and embraced us with is something that molded us with is a good word, definitely. Is something that, number one, I'll never forget, but number two, something that now I see an opportunity to give that to someone else. And I can never thank those guys enough for what they did to not only physically prepare us, but more importantly, like emotionally, spiritually prepare us. And if I could give even a quarter of what they gave to me, I would feel fantastic. I mean, even we've talked about lifting weights a lot, but to this day, there's one guy named Eric Stolzer. He's the one that started the ruck. So if you're listening, shouts out to him. But
hey, Eric.
But I still to this day, and it's been almost 5 years now or 4 years now, if I'm doing a big rep, a 1 rep max, something, I imagine him on my left screaming at me that you better get this, you're going to get this. And that dickhole coach on my right saying you're not going to. And I think that just speaks so strongly to how positive of an impact he had on me. Where even though we talk intermittently, but not a ton anymore, more than once a week, I still picture that individual helping me through something, that's like physically strenuous, something that I need extra motivation for. So coming up on like our last year in school, like helping to train like the younger cadets, I think that is probably the most beneficial and worthwhile thing that I can do at this point, because really like our fates are kind of sealed at this point. What's going to happen to us is going to happen to us, but that younger group, I think everyone deserves a mentor like that. And if I was able to do something even remotely close, I would feel very accomplished as a person.
I think that's a huge what's next. Mentorship is a big thing. Like I'm 34 years old and I'm still seeking out mentors in life.
Of course.
So and I surround myself with the people that I envision are great mentors to me. My best of friends are mentors to me, in different ways. Some of them in the professional world, some of them in what I do in my civilian world, some of them in the way that I treat my wife. Yeah. And the things that I do for my wife are because of mentors. Absolutely. And so I think that's a huge what's next is to, work on your ability to mentor and, actually seek out people who need the mentorship and insert yourself into their life and make their life better for them. Yeah. Help coach them through things. Definitely. That's freaking awesome, man. That's a way deep what's next. Yeah. Way deeper than I expected.
Yeah, this year coming up too is that we've had our final training as far as cadets. Yeah. So we're all our numbers are in. It's whatever the Army tells us we're gonna do. But this year is huge. Like this is something I've been looking forward to since I walked in the doors at St. Norbert as an ROTC cadet, is having the opportunity to mentor the young dudes and young cadets is that's been what I've been looking forward to, is having the experiences, the life experience, not just knowledge of the Army and knowledge of
you can learn that by reading
history.
a book.
Yeah, you can do that.
Exactly.
Anyone can do that, but having
listen to the Jocko podcast, man, you'll learn all about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, having the life experiences and being able to, like Avery said, pay it forward to those young cadets or those young students coming in. It's such a great responsibility, and I'm looking forward to what he said too, is what's next for this next, would be 9 months. Yeah, dude, this next school year.
It's awesome. And then after that, I mean, you guys are going to go off and be, if you get infantry, you'll go off and be a platoon leader, in an infantry platoon of like 35, 36 guys. Those are all people, especially the youngest kids there, are going to require the most amount of mentorship.
Of course.
And so this is a great time to transition and work on that. So when you get to that unit, you can be the best mentor that you can be. And I think that's awesome. To me that's super cool. And I hear a lot of really cool what's next from everything under the sun. Yeah, and I think that the mentorship might be the coolest one I've heard yet.
Oh man!
So it's definitely in the top 3, because that's,
thank you.
That is a big undertaking.
Of course.
To recognize that you're somebody's mentor, and then enforce upon yourself the discipline to continue to be a great mentor, to always do the hard right instead of the easy wrong, because that they're paying attention to you.
Exactly.
And so I think that is, super significant. So that's awesome. Yeah. You guys got anything else you want to add before you step off tomorrow that people hear the day after you guys, or 2 days after you get done?
I guess all I would really say is, even if you're hearing about this after the Ruck March is done, there's still an opportunity to support it. So if you go on the 4th HOOAH website, you'll be able to find a link. And if you feel so inclined, help us out, or at least share it with anyone who would be interested in not only maybe possibly receiving some of the services that 4th HOOAH provides, but also would be interested in hearing about the story and what we do. Because the more people that know about it, the more people that get helped. And ultimately, this is not about us. The podcast was more kind of directed at our mindset and everything. But this is not something that we do to get on a podcast or get on the news. It's something
absolutely.
That meant to pay it forward, because there's been so many people that have paid that price. And I think we're lucky enough to not be ignorant as to not recognize that. And yeah, again, just the more people that get helped out by this, the better. So if you feel so inclined to share it, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. So don't forget, the For Them 2018 Facebook stays live for a long time after the event. So you can go on there. The link will be on there. It's on the HOOAH website at HOOAHWI.org. That's HOOAHWI.org. And if my video editing skills are good enough, it will say it on the screen right now.
Fantastic.
All right. So check that out. But yeah, dude, good luck, dudes.
Thank you.
I'd like to just say thanks
yeah,
for the support too. We can't do it without the support from Fourth HOOAH and all those who are, corporate sponsors, just little donations here and there. We can't do it without every individual that's helping us.
Yep.
So without that, we can't, we won't complete the ruck. Without the little gas stations in Luxembourg, Wisconsin, who give us a couple bottles of water and some fruit for free. We can't do it, or we can't, Zuki's grandparents' house, who opened up their house to us for the night.
And we smell horrible.
Yeah,
So
absolutely horrible. I don't know how I'd feel about that if I was in my house, but we can't thank them enough, and we're grateful for the opportunity to not only come on this podcast, but also be able to undertake this challenge. We're all looking forward to it and looking forward to finishing.
Definitely. Super quick caveat. A specific person I want to thank is Jerry Ward from GIFD Labs, who reached out to us, and he was a bodybuilder for the longest time and now his own supplement company, and he thought what we were doing was super cool. So he actually made us some custom t-shirts to wear and gave us this some of his products he thought would, in terms of recovery, help us throughout it. So big thanks to Jerry and Bio S3 Training, because that was really, really cool. We were not expecting something like that. He's definitely another person that I really look up to. He's a really cool guy, if you're at all interested.
That's awesome. Jerry, if you're listening, man, thanks. And thank you to everybody who has donated to this so far.
Yes.
The funds keep coming in. I just opened up an envelope yesterday with over $2,000 in it from a single donor for these guys, or basically for HOOAH to help more veterans out in the state of Wisconsin. So, dude, kudos to you guys for getting out there and doing it, meeting these people, getting the money raised, and thank you to everybody who puts their money out there, because it's hard to earn. Earning money isn't easy, and it's even harder to give some of your hard-earned money away. So thank you, everybody who has donated to that cause. It's as everybody knows, HOOAH is super, super important to me and to helping our veterans. So thank you guys for all the work that you've done to continue to raise funds to allow us to help more veterans. It's truly appreciated. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Really got into some awesome, deep stuff in here that just pumps me up and jacks me up. And I busted the microphone thing.
Yeah, you jinxed it. Man,
we said right before that was going to happen at some point. So
there it went.
Glad I got that out of the way.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll never happen again.
Yeah, right. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Remember to stay unbreakable and take care. We're out.